All right, guys. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for you guys to come on. It's day 2 of Overcome Overeating if you're watching the replay. And today we're going to talk indulgences. So you may hear me say that again once people come on. But at least you know you're in the right place. Let's give it a minute. Okay, so when you guys hop on, you guys got to tell me who you are because I can't tell. It doesn't show me. Good morning. How are you? I know it's early. Thanks for joining me, especially if you're on West Coast. It's like 7 a.m., guys. Sorry. So tell me who you are if you're on here so that I know. And we'll just wait a few minutes so that everybody can get on before we get started. How's that? I'm trying to pull up today's indulgences. So how is everybody today? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. This 3 decided to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. Okay, so when you pop on, comment so that I can tell who is on and who is going to be with me today. Because I can't see that, I can just see like that people are on. And then we'll get started. Just a few more minutes. I don't want to like take too long, but I want everyone to get on and get settled. So if you haven't got your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, if you don't have your paper or your pen handy, I'd go grab that. I got my coffee. It's funny because I don't commute anymore, but I still use these because they stay hotter. All right, guys. Let me know if you're on here. Say hi, say who you are because I can't see, and then we'll get started. Okay? So, indulgences. That is the what I want to talk about today. Hey there, thank you. You know what? I think it's because I'm still fresh, Alicia. My makeup has just been applied, and I didn't feel like doing my hair. In fact, I asked my 3-year-old, I said, should I go curly or straight? She goes, curly. I said, great. Anyways, okay, so today we're going to talk indulgences. And this comes up a lot with my clients. And this is the one thing, like we all have a lot of things that kind of contribute to overeating or an unhealthy relationship to food. But sometimes we have one thing that's a little bit more, it's a little stronger than the other ones, okay? And so this is the one thing that I really struggled with when I had a poor relationship to food, and it was this idea of indulgences. And so some of this is due to messaging that we received as a kid, or, you know, a lot of this was born, and we'll talk about this later, but a lot of this was born out of lack, okay? So if your family struggled financially, or your family didn't always have enough, specifically like food, you may have some of this that really hits home. And some of you, like my family, we always had enough, but my parents, grandparents' generations, I grew up in the Great Depression, did it, and those messages seeped through generation after generation after generation, and here I am 4 generations later and I'm still struggling with this. So that just shows you how deep some of these actually go. So today I wanted to dissect what indulgences are, and we're going to dissect them because I'm a sciencey person and I like to do things like this. But when I was looking up the actual word for indulgence, so I just got on Webster and I was like looking for the actual definition, and it just means to allow oneself to enjoy the pleasure of something, right? An indulgence is pleasure. An indulgence is synonymous with pampering and spoiling. It's a luxury. It's something that you don't have often. It sometimes feels a little even forbidden or out of your reach, you know. It feels like a treat almost. And I'm going to give you a little head start on mindset for this. Indulgence is born out of deprivation. This idea that we need to indulge is because we don't feel entitled to have these foods, so we indulge, okay? We don't feel deserving. We don't feel like we should be having these foods, and so we have put them in high esteem, okay? And this is that whole concept of, you know, I deserve blank, so I reward myself with X, okay? I did this a lot, like I said. I deserve the cheeseburger because I worked really hard this week. Or I deserve that cheeseburger because, you know, I've had a really rough week. So whenever we talk about this, this is indulgence, okay? So if indulgences typically come from deprivation, we need to look at deprivation, right? So there's physical deprivation. Make sure nobody commented. Okay. There's physical deprivation, and then there's mental deprivation. So when our bodies are physically deprived, starvation and traditional dieting, this is like, you know, cutting your calories by 500 calories, or, you know, those crazy diets where they're like, you need to only consume 500 calories a day, which isn't even enough for your body to like run, just staying alive, sitting in a chair. So what happens is when our bodies are physically deprived, i.e. starving on a traditional diet, it's going to make you want forbidden foods. And we've all been there. But here's the biological things that happen, okay? So you cut calories go down. And then your body's response to that is cutting the metabolic rate. So your body was designed to survive. Your body was designed to survive. So when you cut calories, your body goes, oh, we're not getting very much right now. So then it takes the amount of calories that you have and it stretches it and it burns it at a very low rate because it doesn't know when you're going to feed it again. Okay, and then on top of that, you cut your calories so you're a little hungrier than normal, right? So your body is in fat storage mode because you're in starvation mode because it doesn't know when it's going to get it. Its metabolic rate is like low to help you survive, and you're hungrier than normal. So when you eat these forbidden foods, when you eat these foods that are indulgent, you're doing this in combination with the kind of starvation mode, the traditional dieting mode. It's like the worst cycle ever because it's not going to burn that energy, you know, as much as it would have if it wasn't in starvation mode. And it's going to take all of that energy and it's going to put it into your fat cells so that you can store it for later. So if it never gets fed, it can at least feed off of that. Does that make sense? I hope you guys are still with me on this. I do that on a daily basis. I hope I didn't see that when it came through, so I'm not quite sure what you were talking about that you do on a daily basis, Felicia. Maybe you can clarify. So mental deprivation. So that's physical deprivation. So let's go emotional deprivation. Okay. Emotional deprivation is that mindset of lack, right? So mental deprivation happens when we say, I am not allowed to eat X. Like, we can't have cake. We can't have cheeseburgers. We can't have whatever it is, right? And when that happens, we glorify the unhealthy food as indulgent, and the healthy foods get reduced to like, I have to. That's what it gets reduced to. So you have these healthy foods that, these unhealthy foods that are like, ooh, that looks so good. And then you have these unhealthy foods. It's like, oh, I have to eat salad. And that doesn't ever work out well, right? So what happens is you have marked this food as forbidden and indulgent, and the rebel inside all of us, and there are people that are rule followers. I'm one of them. I'm a rule follower. But there are people that are rule followers. I tell myself I deserve this and indulge on a deep, I deserve it all. Yes, this is a one that runs deep, Alicia. You're not the only one. And the more people I talk to have this thing, I always talk about how I used to have to earn food, right? Like, which is so bogus because You are intrinsically deserving of food, but I had to earn it. Like I needed to do something in exchange for it. I needed to, you know, work out or whatever. So yeah, you're not the only one. So the rebel in us, everybody has one, right? We all have this little person, even if you're a rule follower, that like if you tell them that you're not allowed to do something, that's the first thing you want to do, right? And it makes you want it even more. So you put these foods up here. This is indulgence up here. And you have all the healthy foods down here if I have to. And it makes you just want it even more because you took it off the table. It was like, you know, I was fine until you told me no. And now that I've been thinking about it all week, not being able to have it, I'm going to reward myself with a cheat meal. That's like one of the things I hate the most is these cheat meals, because cheat meals have the capacity to send us into a downward spiral. One cheat meal can literally turn into 2 days of cheat meals, 1 week of cheat meals, 1 month of cheat meals. And it's all because we felt so deprived. Oh, sorry, guys. That's funny. That's my alarm to check my posture, because I have alarms. But that one cheat meal can literally serve you down. So what do? And that's what I want to talk about today, and that's what you're going to get in your homework. So the email that you're going to get later on are going to be some exercises, some nutritional exercises that you could do to reduce this idea that certain foods are forbidden. And it's a really cool one. So check your email tonight at 5. If you haven't signed up for the email, if you're watching this on the replay and you haven't signed up for the email, do that, because it's going to be great stuff. So now I was going to say, I totally lost my train of thought. No, I think we're good. Does this all resonate with you guys? Let me know. Because if so, let's just go ahead and get started on the journaling exercises for today, the mindset stuff. Okay. Prompt 1, let me look over here. So get your journals out. And I want you guys, and I'm going to do this one with you because this is like my thing, okay? I'm really good at indulgences. I'm really good at saying I deserve something. So today I want you guys to consider, what are the foods you consider forbidden or indulgent? So that's the question. Here, let me put the prompt up here so that all the people catching the replay. I know it's early, guys. I like to do this around lunchtime because I feel like more people can step away from the office. So here's prompt 1 for all of you guys watching the replay. What are the foods you consider forbidden or indulgent? And then I just want you to like comment and let me know which foods they are for you. And I'll do this too. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. See my brown roots? Gotta get my hair done. Anything? Pasta and sweets, yeah. I totally hear you, Alicia. So if you're just hopping on, prompt 1, I'm going to try to talk quietly. Rebecca, carbs, yeah. So if you're just hopping on, prompt 1, it's what are the foods you consider forbidden or indulgent? Okay. So mine, just to let you guys know, because we're being really open and honest here. So when I do this indulgent stuff, like when I want something like really good or I feel like I deserve something, it was always carbs, but it was always salty carbs. So like sometimes a lot of people do sweets, and for me it wasn't sweets, it was the cheeseburgers, the nachos, the tacos. We're in Houston, so we do a lot of Mexican, but it was always those foods that turn to sugar and were not necessarily sugary sweets. Does that make sense? So like Alicia, you were talking about pasta. Like pasta is so great for this, right? Because you get the best of both worlds in the indulgent factor. You get the carbs, you get usually pastas, unless you're doing red sauce, are kind of like cream, all that goodness. Yes, me all day long. Yeah, Rebecca. So you're getting all the like high, indulgent fattiness from like all of the good sauces, the cream, and then you're getting the pasta, which turns to sugar, and your body loves it because it's quick energy. And it shoots up your serotonin, and you're feeling great, right? So the salty stuff is on my list of things to eat every day. The sweets are the forbidden foods because my family never had dessert. Yes. So Alicia, you have to do this exercise and the nutrition bonus this afternoon, or when I send it at 5, because that's the thing, is there are so many messages that we received as kids that like you can never have that. And I would encourage you to think about why. Like, why did you never have dessert? What stigma was around dessert? Was it because like it wasn't necessary? Was it because it wasn't healthy? Was it because you didn't have the money for it? Was it seen as an indulgent? Was it seen as a luxury? Was it seen as like too much? Like, what was it? So I would look at that. And typically, I'll be very honest with you guys, like forbidden foods tend to be those foods that trigger us. And so there's a little part of us that say, you know what? I know I'm triggered by this, so that's why I'm taking it out. But at the same time, it's hard because you put it up here, right? So that's part of it. So now that you know what these forbidden foods are, I want you guys to consider this question. So prompt 2, I'm just going to copy and paste it. Why are these foods forbidden? So this is what I was talking about, Alicia. Why are these foods forbidden? Why do you consider them indulgent? Where's the why? So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. I'll do mine too. So prompt 2, if you're just hopping on, I'll be quiet because everyone's writing, but why are these foods forbidden and why do you consider them indulgent? So you're going to write down your list of forbidden foods and then you're going to write, why do you consider them forbidden? Why are these particular foods indulgent to you? And if you get something superficial, like because they're unhealthy, why are they unhealthy? And then you're like, because they'll cause me to gain weight. Why do I think these foods are going to cause me to gain weight? Keep getting down deeper and deeper and deeper until you figure out what that root is. Rebecca, for me, it's all about the finishing the food or snack or bag or box because I grew up with a big family and we always share. I want to have something all to myself, and I can do that with the food of my choice. Yes, that is a huge breakthrough right there, Rebecca. Huge. Did you know that before, or did you kind of have an idea, but it just kind of came out? Big families are an interesting dynamic. I come from a very large extended family. My family's Irish and Italian, so there's a lot of people in it. And I totally identify with that. My family never had money for unnecessary foods, and we were all overweight. They were bad, and we didn't need to spend money on foods that were going to make us more unhealthy. My mom dieted all the time. Yeah. It just came out, Rebecca. See, this is the thing, is like sometimes we just don't take the time to like figure this stuff out. But when we do, it's like, wow, I had no idea that like that was it. That's incredible. I'm so glad for you. Yeah, and Alicia, this is so true. Like I was telling you guys at the very beginning. So my family always had enough money. My dad was a cop and my mom worked in insurance, but we always had plenty. We never wanted for anything. And my mom's, you know, parents, they were fine. They had plenty of food and all that kind of stuff. But their grandparents' generation went through the Great Depression, and it literally changed the way that they looked and approached food. Even though they were 2 generations down, and I'm 3 generations down, it still affected us. And so for you, I would explore. They were bad, and we didn't need to spend money on foods that were going to make us more unhealthy. Why were they bad? Do you know what I mean? Like, but why? Why were they bad? Because here's the thing, and I tell this to everybody, there is no good and bad. There are foods that are more nourishing and foods that are less nourishing, but there's nothing bad about, you know, a piece of cake. There's nothing bad about, you know, having a taco or whatever it is. There's nothing bad about it. It just is. So I would look at what makes it bad. I would look at that. Okay. Anybody else? Rebecca, I am so happy for you. Okay. So prompt 3 is write down all the times when you want something indulgent. So now we know which foods we consider indulgent, because for everybody it's different. We know why these foods are, you know, forbidden. And now I want to know, or I want you to know, that's more like it. I want you to know all the times when you want to have something indulgent. So what are those times? I'm going to do that prompt here. And if you want, you can kind of talk about the experience with yourselves. I mean, you can write out the experience that you have. So like if it's when you want something indulgent, like for me, it was always something that I needed to earn, right? So it was like if I worked really hard at the gym all week, then I got my cheese enchilada or whatever it is. So you can write about that experience, like how you need to earn it, and then all the details about it. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys finish up. So you guys can just keep writing, but I'll kind of give you an idea of like what mine was. So like I said, for me, mine was all about earning food. It was all about working hard. It's equal parts celebration, Rebecca, when I've been successful that day, and also when I'm feeling shamed for something and say to myself, I might as well have some temporary enjoyment from food. Yeah. It's basically every moment of my day. But Alicia, it can't be every moment. So, because an indulgent in and of itself is something special, right? And so, unless you're having like little special moments all day long, which I don't think you are, there are times when, you know, you aren't. So like, let's think really hard about like what those look like. So even if there's a lot of them, what do they all have in common? Like, where's the common denominator in that? I would look at that. Rebecca, yeah. Equal parts celebration when you're successful, but also it's like, well, I might as well like enjoy myself because things are going to crap, right? Yeah. So, like I said, it's different for everybody. It's one of those things that we really have to key in on. And it's when I'm mad or sad or stressed or down in some way, I want comfort. There you go, Alicia. You just nailed it. Because, like, for example, for me, it was earning and celebrating, right? And for Rebecca, it was equal parts celebrating and equal parts like cheering yourself up. And for you, it's comfort. For you, it really, indulging really comes down to comforting, soothing, you know, building yourself back up. You want something that's going to make you happy, even if it is for 2 seconds, even if that one little teeny bite of Taco Bell burrito, like if it puts a smile on your face and makes you feel a little bit happy, then it's done its job, right? So everybody has a different marker, right? Food used to be used as a reward in my family. That's a big one, Rebecca. It's used in a lot of families. Are you a mama, Rebecca? Oh, wait. I usually work with moms. I'm not going to lie. I work with a lot of moms. And the reason I think that I end up working with a lot of moms is because they want to break the cycle. It's one of those things that I learned how to do, breaking the cycle. 5 generations of being overweight in my family, and it's one of those things that I really want to do for my kids, and I think that resonates with a lot of moms out there. And so rewarding, if you are a mama, and if you're watching this as a replay, if you're a mama and using food as a reward, I would highly recommend substituting something out, because that is what gets us into this. That's what gets us here, is when we use food as a reward. And my parents didn't use food as a reward necessarily, but we used it as like a celebration. You got, you know, straight A's on your report card, let's go to the restaurant. We never went to restaurants, we never ate out, but we did every 6 weeks because of our report cards. So it was one of those things that it wasn't a reward like, you did really good on your test, here's an ice cream cone. It wasn't that immediate, but it was, because it was associated with that report card, you know, all that hard work, 6 weeks of hard work, and you've earned your right to eat out. Does that make sense? And if my mom popped on, sorry, Mom, you already know this. But yeah, that's how it works. So if you are a mama and you are using food, like not trying to, but just now it just hits you that you're using food as a reward, I highly recommend using something other than food as that reward. So maybe you go out to the jump park, or maybe you guys, you know, go do something. You go to the science museum or whatever it is, but do something other than food for that reward. Yeah, you are a mama. A lot of time I feel like food is the only positive thing I have in my day. Everything else is stress. Yes, and that's a reframe, because you're a therapist and you know that, right? No, that's a reframe, because I bet if we went through your day and we did an audit, I always say audit, but if we did an audit, I bet there were things that were not as stressful and that there were moments of joy. So that is a gratitude thing. We got to like go back and like find all those little teeny tiny moments of gratitude, of things that worked well, and really focus on what did go well. Because when we focus on the stress and everything is stressful, then we're not going to get what we want. We have to focus on what we want and not what we don't want, because you're going to get more of that. So yeah, I think it all comes down to just identifying when those moments are. So now I want you to go back and, hold on, how often we in with him? Okay, now look at your list. So everyone look down at your list of all the times that you were indulgent, or all the times that you like something indulgent. So all those moments in your life that you really enjoy something indulgent and it really helps lift you up, right? How often is it? So Alicia, you already touched on this. You said it's like every day, all day long. But how often is it really? So for you, Alicia, I would go through and say, like, okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, how often is if I'm really doing this? So how often? And are you doing it with anybody, or are you doing it by yourself? That's a big one. And then out of that list, which one gives you the most, like, desire? Which one do you feel the most pull to? Which one gives you the most high? I know that sounds kind of weird, but like, which one does it for you the most out of all of the indulgences? And then which one gives you the most guilt? So I'm going to put all those on there. This is prompt freebie. Like you're in school. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Oh. Yeah, Alicia. So when it's always when you're alone when you indulge. It's usually sugary coffee that I run to first, but that may be an access thing. Yeah, if you have it in the office and it's like ready to go. It's warm and comforting, and it lasts longer than a few seconds. Because you can sip on it. Is that it? Like the actual like mechanics of sipping something slowly? Hey, Molly. How are you? And I get the most guilt from fast food because I feel like there's never a good reason for it. Yeah. Yeah, because it's the actual mechanics of sipping. It slows you down, actually, right? So, Alicia, I think it's just because I know what you commented before. You just woke up. Good for you. Um, yeah, I've been up for a while, Molly. Thanks to my children. No, I think for you it's the sugar. You said exactly. Yeah, because just based on everything that you've told me, I don't think it's the coffee. I think it's the sugar, and I do think it's probably slowing you down a little bit just because of the mechanics of it. You have to sip and savor. But I would explore, like you just nailed it, warm and comforting. I would go deeper on that. Warm and comforting. That's big. Because when you're stressed, all you want is warmth and comforting. Yes, thank you for rubbing it in, Molly, that you're in your satin sheets. Thanks. I got dressed today. I put on like a nice shirt. It's the whole combination. I love that it's hot, creamy, and sweet. It doesn't hit any of those points. It doesn't work. If it doesn't hit those points, it doesn't work. Okay? So also explore that. Like, like why? Why creamy? What about creamy is it? You know, and then just keep asking yourself the why. Like, why? Why does creamy feel comforting to you? Like, I know why that feels comforting to me. I know exactly why that feels comforting to me. And it does. But I'm asking you, like, why for you? Does that make sense? Why? And the sweet thing, a lot of that is because you're eating sweets. If you eat sweets, your body's going to crave more of them. So that's where that comes in. So I'm not too worried about that part. But, like, why does it need to be warm and creamy? Because you just said above here, it's warm and comforting. So that's the thing that you need to explore the most right there. So prompt 4, the last one that we're going to go, is I want you to go back and reread your list. And I want you to ask yourself why, kind of like I was doing with Alicia, but make it a complete question. So when I was talking about how I always felt like I had to earn food, like it wasn't divinely my right to just have certain indulgences. Like I didn't just get to have it for a random Tuesday. Like we don't just get cake on Tuesday. You have to earn that, right? You have to work hard for that. You have to actually do something that makes you deserving of that, right? And it typically was things like going to the gym or working hard at work or something like that. So what I would have to ask myself in that question is, why did I feel the need to earn food? And that's a big question. Like, why did I feel the need that I had to earn it? And those are the kind of questions that I want you to ask yourself. So if you go back through your list, ask yourself some of those big questions. Reframe like what you're looking for and ask, why? Why did I feel like I have to have that to be able to indulge in it? So Alicia, like you go back up, you were telling me earlier about, I'm trying to find it now, unnecessary. You were all, I'm not calling you out, but I know you a little bit better, so I'm calling you out. Okay, so here it is. My family never had money for unnecessary foods, and we were all overweight, they were bad, and we didn't need to spend the money, all of that jazz, right? So it's not why did I feel the need to earn the food, but why did I not feel I was deserving enough to have the food? That's a big question. So for you, it all comes down that you didn't deserve it because it wasn't something that you were allowed to have. We don't need that. We don't need to be spending money on that. You don't deserve that. So that's where I would look. And that does go back to the fact of like that ties into the not enoughness. So if you're watching the replay, I'm using these guys as an example, but this is the kind of stuff that I want you to be able to do tonight because I know we got on way early for some of you, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So some of you didn't even have a chance to like grab a cup of coffee or like get your kids to school. But I have a really busy day ahead of me. So I had to get it in early. But that's the kind of stuff that I want you to ask yourself is why? And I'm going to be honest with you. Indulgences typically come down to earning, deserving, and some of them come down to fearing the consequences of it. But I would say most everything comes down to earning and deserving. So if that's something that, if you have a question, ask me. Or if you're having problems like reframing it for yourself, like reframing a question, even if you watch the replay, put it on here and that's your whole freaking life right there. Yeah. No, but it's true. Food is not about food. Food has never been about food. If food was about food, everybody would get a menu plan and they would follow that menu plan and we would all be healthy people. And that's just not how it works. food is never about food. It's always about something else. And it literally comes usually from not enoughness. And that's why we work so hard on enoughness, right? So if you're watching the replay and you have a question about how you can reframe it. So, you know, this is how I'm feeling, but how do I, like, what question do I ask myself? Then put it on here and make sure you tag me in it so that I can respond back to you, okay? So I can help you like reframe that for yourself. But I definitely want you guys to look at this. So even if you didn't finish it all today, because we went through it pretty quickly, even if you didn't finish it all today, go back and really dig deep and really, you know, get to the meat of some of this. And then tonight, I'm going to send you some really cool nutrition exercises that you can do. And by exercise, I don't mean lunges. I mean like some practices that you guys can do to help align with and become okay with indulgences. So indulgences, we're going to take them up from this like high esteem, from this forbidden place, and we're going to bring them back down to earth. And you're going to be able to enjoy them without having any kind of connection of guilt, because food is food. It doesn't matter if it's cake or if it's broccoli. It's all of it is okay, right? Some are more nourishing to your bodies and some is less, but it's all acceptable. It's all within your limits. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to reduce the deprivation. We're going to try to reduce deprivation mindset and deprivation physically. And then we're going to bring all those forbidden foods back down so that you can actually enjoy them without those negative thought gremlins telling you that you shouldn't be doing this. Okay? And that's not saying that I'm advocating you to go to Taco Bell and, you know, eat all the burritos. That's not the same thing. I want you to be able to have something, because here's the thing. Once you indulge in something, like once you know that you can eat something that's indulgent, once you know that you can eat one of those forbidden foods and you're fine with it, it loses the appeal. So it no longer has that power over you. It has zero power. Like I have a cake and a pie in my house right now that was left over from my kid's birthday party. But it's not sitting there calling my name because it doesn't have any power over me. I know I can eat cake whenever I want, so I'm not eating it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. If you're following me, say, that makes sense. No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, that's the homework for tonight. You're going to get that at 5. So if you're watching this replay and you haven't signed up for the email list, sign up. Are there any questions before I get off? Because I have another call at 10, but I'll take a few questions if you guys have any. That makes sense. Thank you. It's always good when you make sense in the morning, because mornings are hard for me. I'm not the best morning person, even though I have children that wake up at 6 a.m. on the dot. I need coffee. So any questions before I get off? I don't want to cut you guys short. So if you have any questions, I know it takes like some time to type, especially if you're on the phone or something like that. Your thumbs. I can answer them now, and then when we get off, if you have any questions, you can just PM me. How's that? Nothing? We're good? Okay. So tomorrow we are doing we're day 3. I can't believe we're already on day 3 tomorrow. Man, this week is fast. Okay, so day 3, we're going to be talking about overeating healthy foods. And I know that sounds really bizarre because it's like, what? Can you really overeat on healthy foods? And the answer is yes. So tomorrow we're going to explore what that means, and it's really interesting. So if you haven't ever considered what that means for you, you have to tune in. And I think that one's at noon. So tomorrow, I think that's at a better time for everybody. It'll be at noon. Hopefully a lot more people will be on that one. So that's it today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye, guys.